The bedroom door crashed open. Violet's heart slammed against her ribcage. Kim Tae-min stood in the doorway, his perfectly tailored white shirt stained with what looked like blood, his tie hanging loose around his neck, his dark eyes wild with something she'd never seen before, raw, unfiltered, dangerous. For 3 years he'd never entered this room after sunset. For 3 years she'd slept alone in this massive bed while he existed in some other part of the penthouse, like a ghost she was married to but never allowed to touch. But tonight, something was different. The man at the restaurant. His voice was gravel and whiskey, rough in a way that made her skin prickle. Park Seo-jun, who is he to you? Violet clutched the silk sheets tighter around her body. She'd changed into her nightgown an hour ago, had been reading, trying not to think about the way Tae-min had watched her across the dinner table tonight. The way his jaw had clenched when Seo-jun, their waiter, had smiled at her, had touched her hand when passing her the menu. He's no one, just a waiter. He touched you. Tae-min moved into the room, and Violet's breath caught. 3 years of careful distance, of measured politeness, of existing in the same space but never the same world. And now he was here, in her bedroom, looking at her like he wanted to devour her or destroy something. Maybe both. It was an accident. He looked at you like you were his. Taemin's hands clenched into fists at his sides, like he had the right. And you think you have the right? The words came out sharper than she intended. 3 years of loneliness, of being invisible, of wondering what was so fundamentally wrong with her that her own husband couldn't stand to be near her. It all bubbled up. You who haven't touched me once in 3 years? Who treats me like expensive furniture? Who walks past me like I don't exist? Something cracked in his expression. Pain, raw and bleeding. I'm your husband, Violet. The way he said her name, like he was tasting it for the first time, like it was precious and dangerous, sent shivers cascading down her spine. Mine, not his. Mine. She should have been scared. This was Kim Tae-min, after all, the dragon of Gangnam, the man whose name made grown men pale, whose reputation was built on blood and brutality and an iron will that never, ever broke. But all she felt was her heart hammering so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. All she felt was 3 years of hunger, suddenly given permission to surface. Then act like it, she whispered. Welcome to Aurora Love Saga. If you're loving this story, hit that like button and subscribe because what you're about to watch would leave you speechless. Tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. I'd really love to know. Now let's dive into it. Let me take you back to where this all started. To the moment Violet Summers became Mrs. Kim without ever being his wife. The jazz club was dim and smoky, the kind of place Violet's father used to take her when she was little, before the gambling took everything. Now she was here for a different reason, waiting for a man who held her father's life in his hands. Kim Tae-min arrived exactly on time. She saw him before he saw her, tall, impossibly handsome in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her yearly salary as an art curator. His hair was styled perfectly, his face all sharp angles and cold calculation. He moved through the club like he owned it. He probably did. Their eyes met across the room. For 1 second, she saw something flicker in his gaze. Interest. Heat. Then it was gone, replaced by ice. He sat across from her without asking permission. Violet Summers. Mr. Kim, you know why you're here. It wasn't a question. Violet's fingers trembled as she reached for her wine glass. My father owes your family $200,000, money he doesn't have, money I don't have. Correct. Taemin's English was perfect, barely accented. He has 2 weeks before my family's patience expires. After that, he didn't finish. He didn't need to. I'll find a way to pay you. Her voice was stronger than she felt. I just need more time. I can sell my apartment, take loans. That won't be necessary. Hope flared in her chest. You'll extend the deadline? No. He leaned back, his dark eyes assessing her like she was a business acquisition. I'll erase the debt entirely, plus provide your father with a monthly stipend of $5,000 for the rest of his life. The room tilted. What's the catch? Marry me. Violet laughed. It came out slightly hysterical. You're joking. I don't joke about business. He pulled out a folder, slid it across the table. My family needs legitimacy, international connections, a marriage to an American, especially one with your background, educated, cultured, the daughter of a former diplomat before his troubles, provides that. You want to buy a wife. I want to make a mutually beneficial arrangement. His voice never wavered. You gain financial security for yourself and your father, freedom from his debt, a comfortable life. I gain what my family needs. And what about love? The question sounded naive even to her own ears. For the first time, something almost like a smile touched his lips. Love is a luxury neither of us can afford, Miss Summers. This is business, pure and simple. She should have said no, should have found another way. But looking at her father's debt statement in the folder, at the contract that promised his safety, his future, she knew she was already trapped. How long? She asked quietly. Minimum 3 years. After that, if you wish to leave, we can arrange a quiet divorce. You'll receive a settlement. Your father's stipend continues. 3 years of her life. She was 25 years old, had a career she loved at a small gallery in Brooklyn, had friends, a tiny apartment she'd decorated herself, dreams of traveling through Europe documenting art for a book she wanted to write. But she had a father who'd gambled away everything, who sat in their apartment now, probably drunk, definitely terrified, who'd done his best after Mom died but had never quite recovered. I need to think about it. You have 24 hours. Taemin stood, buttoned his jacket. After that, the offer expires and the debt comes due. He walked away, leaving her with the folder and a choice that wasn't really a choice at all. The wedding happened in Seoul 3 weeks later. Quick, efficient, cold. Violet wore a white dress she'd picked out in a daze. Her father walked her down the aisle with tears streaming down his face, and Taemin stood at the altar looking like a prince from a fairy tale. If the fairy tale was about ice kings and loveless arrangements. His family filled the other side of the church. She recognized his mother, Kim Hye-jin, from the photos she'd studied obsessively after agreeing to this insanity. Beautiful, elegant, and currently looking at Violet like she was something unpleasant she'd found on her shoe. The ceremony was in Korean and English. Violet barely heard the words. She was too focused on Taemin's hand, warm and strong, holding hers. The first time he'd touched her since that handshake in the jazz club. You may kiss the bride, the officiant said. Taemin turned to her. For just a second, his eyes dropped to her lips. She saw his throat work like he was swallowing something. Then he leaned in and pressed his lips to her cheek. Barely a touch. Over in a heartbeat. Welcome to the Kim family, Mrs. Kim, he murmured, loud enough for others to hear, then softer, just for her. I'm sorry. She didn't understand what he was apologizing for. Not then. The penthouse was in Gangnam, of course. 47th floor, views of the entire city, the kind of luxury Violet had only seen in magazines. Marble floors, modern furniture, art on the walls that she recognized from auction catalogs, a Rothko in the living room, a Basquiat in the hallway. This is your wing, Taemin said, opening a door to reveal a massive bedroom suite. King bed with silk sheets, walk-in closet already filled with clothes in her size, a bathroom with a soaking tub that overlooked the city. Everything you need should be here. If not, speak to Mrs. Choi, the housekeeper. Our wing, Violet corrected. You mean our bedroom. His expression shuddered. I have my own rooms on the other side of the apartment. We'll maintain separate spaces. Something cold settled in her stomach. We're married. On paper. He wouldn't meet her eyes. "This is a business arrangement, Violet. I thought I made that clear. You'll accompany me to family functions and important events. In public, we're the perfect couple. In private, we maintain our own lives." What if I want more? Finally, he looked at her, really looked at her, and she saw it. Want, sharp and fierce, there for just a second before he crushed it down. "Then you married the wrong man." He turned toward the door. "Good night, Mrs. Kim." The door closed behind him. Violet stood alone in her beautiful bedroom in her beautiful dress and cried for the life she'd just signed away. That was 3 years ago. 3 years of waking up alone in a bed meant for 2. 3 years of eating breakfast in a kitchen bigger than her old apartment. The only sound the clink of her spoon against the bowl. 3 years of hearing Tai Min's footsteps walk past her door every morning, every night, never stopping. 3 years of being a wife without a husband. She tried. God, she tried. The first few months, she threw herself into learning Korean, hired a tutor, watched K-dramas obsessively, practiced with Mrs. Choi, who was kind and patient. She learned to read Hangul, to understand conversations, to speak with an accent that made people smile but understand her. She learned to cook Korean food, spent hours in the kitchen making kimchi jjigae and bulgogi and japchae, laying it all out on the dining table, hoping Tai Min would come home for dinner. Sometimes he did. He'd sit across from her, take a few bites, compliment her cooking politely. Then his phone would ring and he'd excuse himself, leaving her alone with enough food for 6 people. She decorated the penthouse, added warmth and color to the stark modern spaces. Plants in the living room, throws on the couches. Photos, not of them. They had no photos together except the wedding portraits, but of Seoul. Street scenes she captured on long walks through neighborhoods, trying to fall in love with this city that was now supposed to be her home. She attended every family function, dressed in beautiful clothes Tai Min's stylists selected, her makeup perfect, her smile bright and empty. His hand would rest on her lower back, guiding her through rooms of people who spoke too fast for her to follow. Proprietary, possessive. But the moment they were alone in the car, the moment they crossed the threshold of the penthouse, he'd pull away like she burned him. His mother cornered her at a charity gala 6 months in. "You are not what I wanted for my son," Hye-jin said in careful English, her smile sharp as glass. "An American, a black woman, no family, no connections of value." "I'm sorry I disappoint you," Violet replied, keeping her voice level even as her heart cracked a little more. 3 years, and still no heir. Hee-jin's eyes traveled over her body, assessing, judging. "Perhaps there is something wrong. We can arrange for doctors, fertility specialists." "We're not trying for children yet," Violet interrupted. We want to wait." The lie tasted bitter. The truth, that Tai Min had never touched her, never even kissed her properly, never shared her bed for even one night, was too humiliating to speak aloud. Hee-jin's expression said she knew, said she saw through the lie, said Violet was a failure as a wife. My son deserves better. The other wives were no kinder. Violet would catch fragments of their conversations, her Korean good enough now to understand the cruelty, even when they thought she couldn't. 3 years. Something must be wrong with her. "I heard he keeps a mistress, a proper Korean woman. My cousin saw him with someone in Itaewon. Young, beautiful, not like..." They'd trail off when they noticed Violet listening. Smile their fake smiles, go back to excluding her from conversations. Late at night, Violet would lie in her bed and hear sounds from Tai Min's wing. Water running, his voice on phone calls in rapid Korean she couldn't follow. Once she'd heard him shout, then something breaking. She'd gotten up, stood outside his door with her hand raised to knock, to ask if he was okay, to try to bridge this impossible distance between them, but she'd heard him talking then. Low, intense, a woman's voice responding, laughter. Violet had gone back to bed and cried into her pillow, hating herself for caring. for wanting something from a man who'd made it clear she was just a contract to him. She started seeing signs, though, small things that made her question everything, like the blanket. She'd fallen asleep on the couch one night, a book on her chest. She woke up at 3 a.m. covered with a soft throw that hadn't been there before. It smelled like Tae-min's cologne, or the coffee. She liked her coffee with cream and 2 sugars. One morning she found it waiting for her, prepared exactly right, even though Mrs. Choi wasn't there yet and Tae-min had supposedly left for work already, or the way he'd watch her. She'd look up from her book and catch him staring, his expression unreadable. The moment their eyes met, he'd look away. But it kept happening at dinners, at events. Once when she was photographing the sunset from the balcony and turned to find him in the doorway, just watching. "Did you need something?" she'd asked. "No." He'd walked away. It was driving her insane. These small moments of attention surrounded by vast stretches of nothing, of being ignored, of being invisible. 18 months in, she started wondering if there was someone else. If the rumors were true, it would explain everything, why he never touched her, why he maintained such careful distance. If his heart belonged to someone else, someone his family wouldn't accept, maybe this marriage was protecting that relationship. The thought should have brought relief. Instead, it made her feel hollow. 2 years in, she stopped trying, stopped cooking elaborate meals, stopped waiting up hoping he'd come home early, stopped dressing up for family functions and just wore whatever was efficient, stopped caring if his mother approved or the other wives whispered. She built her own life, made friends at a gym in Gangnam where other expats worked out, started exhibiting her photography at a small gallery in Hongdae, threw herself into her art, into documenting Seoul's hidden beauty. The street vendors in Dongdaemun, the old women selling flowers in Insadong, the way light hit the Han River at dawn. She was surviving, but she wasn't living. 3 years and 2 months in, Violet woke up one morning and realized she was 28 years old. Her father's debt was long paid. The contract said minimum 3 years, and they'd passed that. She could leave, could go back to New York, to her old life, to maybe finding someone who actually wanted her. The thought should have filled her with joy. Instead, she felt sad, grieving for something she'd never actually had. But she was tired of being lonely, tired of sharing a home with a man who treated her like a stranger, tired of hoping for something that was never going to happen. That night, she started packing. She didn't tell Tae-min, not at first. She booked a flight to New York for 2 weeks out, contacted a lawyer in Seoul, an American woman who specialized in expatriate divorces, had papers drawn up, fair terms. She didn't want his money, just her freedom. She told herself she'd do it quietly, professionally, the way their whole marriage had been. But then her friend Hannah convinced her to go out. "One last night in Seoul," Hannah insisted. "Come on, Vi, live a little. You've been a hermit for 3 years. So Violet said yes, put on a dress that actually fit her body instead of the conservative shit Tae-min's stylist always picked, did her makeup, let her natural curls frame her face instead of straightening them, looked in the mirror and saw herself, really herself, for the first time in years. They went to a restaurant in 801, trendy, packed, the kind of place Violet never went because she was always afraid of running into someone who knew Tae-min. But tonight she didn't care. Tonight she was free, or almost free. Their waiter was charming. Park Seo-jun, his name tag read. He had an easy smile and spoke perfect English with a slight Australian accent. "First time here?" he asked, setting down their menus. "First time in a while," Violet admitted. "I've been busy." "Well, you're in for a treat. Everything here is incredible." His hand brushed hers when he passed her the menu. "But if you want my recommendation, the galbi is life-changing." "I'll trust you," Violet said, smiling. Actually smiling. When was the last time she'd smiled at someone and meant it? Seo-jun grinned back. "Excellent choice. I'll take good care of you." It was nothing. Harmless flirting. The kind of casual human interaction she'd been starved for. She didn't think about it after he walked away, was too busy catching up with Hannah, laughing at stories about her chaotic teaching job, feeling almost normal. She didn't notice the man at the corner table. Didn't see him watching. Didn't recognize Kim Tae-min until he stood up abruptly and walked out of the restaurant, his expression thunderous. Violet got home around 10 p.m. The penthouse was dark except for one light in the living room. Taemin sat on the couch, still in his work clothes, a glass of whiskey in his hand. He didn't look up when she came in. "Did you have fun?" His voice was carefully neutral. Yes?" Violet set down her purse, suddenly self-conscious. "I was out with Hannah. Just dinner. At the restaurant in Itaewon." Her stomach dropped. "You were there?" "Business dinner." Finally, he looked at her. His eyes traveled over her dress, her hair, her face. Something dangerous flickered in his gaze. "You look different." "Different how?" "Like yourself." He stood, set down his glass. "Not like the image my stylist created. Not like the perfect Korean wife my mother wants. Like..." "Violet." Her heart hammered. "Is that a problem?" The waiter seemed to think so. His jaw clenched. "Park Seo-jun. He touched you. He handed me a menu. He touched your hand, smiled at you, looked at you like..." Taemin stopped, his hands clenching into fists. "Like he had the right. And you think you have the right?" 3 years of frustration bubbled up. "You who haven't touched me once, who acts like I don't exist, who treats me like furniture." "I had my reasons." Well, they were shitty reasons. Violet was shaking now. "I'm done, Taemin. I'm leaving. I've already contacted a lawyer. The divorce papers will be ready next week." The silence stretched between them, tense, crackling. "You're leaving," he repeated. His voice was flat. "Our contract is up. I've fulfilled my obligations. My father is safe, has his stipend. There's no reason for me to stay." "No reason?" Something cracked in his composure. 3 years, and you think there's no reason. "Give me one." Violet's voice broke. "Give me one reason why I should stay in this empty marriage. One reason why I should keep living like a ghost in your house." Taemin stared at her. She saw the war in his eyes. Then he turned away. "Go to bed, Violet. We'll discuss this in the morning." She wanted to scream, wanted to throw something. Instead, she went to her room and cried angry tears into her pillow. The next 2 weeks were agony. Taemin disappeared into work. Violet barely saw him. When she did, he was polite, distant, like they'd reverted to strangers. The divorce papers arrived. She signed them, left them on his desk in the office, waited for him to sign too so she could end this and move on. He didn't. Days passed. The papers sat there, untouched. "Are you going to sign them?" she finally asked one morning, catching him in the kitchen. "I'm reviewing them." "What's there to review? I'm not asking for anything except my freedom." His eyes met hers. Maybe that's the problem. Before she could ask what he meant, his phone rang. He took the call in rapid Korean, walking away. Always walking away. Violet tried to move on with her life, finalize things with her gallery in Hongdae, said goodbye to friends, packed her belongings methodically. Each item felt like closing a chapter. She didn't expect the charity dinner, had forgotten it was on the calendar, but Tae-min's assistant called. "Mr. Kim requests your presence tonight at the Seoul Arts Foundation Gala. 7 p.m. a dress will be delivered." "I don't think..." "He insists, Mrs. Kim. He says it's important." Violet almost said no, but something in her wanted one last night. One last time playing the role of Mrs. Kim before she became Violet Summers again. The dress arrived at 5 p.m., emerald green, fitted, gorgeous. She put it on, did her hair, her makeup, looked in the mirror and saw a woman playing a part one final time. Taemin was waiting in the living room when she emerged. He turned, and she watched his eyes widen, travel over her slowly. His throat worked. "You look beautiful." he said quietly. "You always look beautiful." Something in her chest cracked. Please don't say things you don't mean. I've never lied to you, Violet." The car ride was silent, tense. His hand rested on the seat between them, so close to hers, not touching, never touching. The gala was predictably elegant. Crystal chandeliers, champagne, souls elite in their designer clothes. Taemin's hand settled on her lower back as they entered. Proprietary, possessive, like always. "Stay close," he murmured. "Some of tonight's guests are not friendly." She wanted to ask what he meant, but they were immediately swept into conversations. His hand never left her back. She felt the heat of it through the thin silk of her dress, felt the way his fingers would tighten slightly when someone said something that displeased him. It was driving her insane. 3 years of distance, and suddenly he was touching her, claiming her. Why? Why now, when she was about to leave? Then she saw him, Park Seo-joon, the waiter from the restaurant, except he wasn't dressed like a waiter now. He wore a tailored suit, expensive watch, and moved through the crowd like he belonged. Violet's stomach dropped. "Taemin," she whispered. "The waiter. He's here." Taemin went rigid beside her. "Stay behind me." "What's going on?" But Seo-joon had already spotted them. He approached with that same easy smile, except now it looked predatory. "Kim Taemin," he said in Korean, then switched to English. "And the lovely Mrs. Kim. Violet, wasn't it?" "You know each other," Violet said slowly. "We're acquainted." Taemin's voice was deadly quiet. "Park Seo-joon runs operations in Itaewon. We've been competitors for some time." The pieces clicked into place. The waiter wasn't a waiter. He was rival Mafia, and he'd targeted her specifically. "Such a small world," Seo-joon said, his smile widening. "I didn't realize you were Kim's wife when we met, though I have to say it's unusual. You two don't seem particularly close. In fact, rumors suggest you live quite separate lives." Taemin's hand tightened on Violet's back. "Rumors are rarely accurate." "Are they?" Seo-joon's eyes met Violet's. "Because you seemed quite available, quite lonely, a beautiful woman, ignored by her husband. It's almost tragic. Watch yourself, Park." "Or what?" Seo-joon leaned in. "You'll finally acknowledge she exists? After 3 years of treating her like an inconvenient obligation. We both know this marriage is just paperwork. So maybe—" He reached out, fingers brushing Violet's arm. "She deserves someone who actually appreciates—" Taemin moved, fast, brutal. His fist connected with Seo-joon's jaw before Violet even processed what was happening. The crowd gasped. Security rushed forward. "Don't fucking touch my wife," Taemin growled. His control had shattered completely. He looked wild, dangerous. "Don't look at her. Don't speak to her. She's mine." "Taemin!" Violet grabbed his arm. "Stop! We're leaving!" He pulled her toward the exit, his grip gentle on her but his expression murderous. "Now." Do you think Taemin is about to confess or explode? Drop your guess in the comments right now. And if you're feeling this tension, hit that like button because it's about to get even more intense. The car ride home was suffocating. Taemin's driver kept his eyes carefully forward while tension crackled in the back seat. Taemin stared out the window, his jaw clenched so tight, Violet thought it might crack. His knuckles were bleeding from the punch. "You're hurt," she said quietly. "I'm fine." "Let me see." "I said I'm fine." But his voice was rough, broken. When they got to the penthouse, Taemin headed straight for his wing. Violet followed, her heart pounding. "We need to talk." "Not now, Violet." "Yes, now." She grabbed his arm, forcing him to face her. "What the hell was that? You hit him, in front of everyone. You've never even raised your voice in 3 years, and suddenly, he touched you." Taemin's eyes were wild. "He looked at you like you were his, like he had the right, like I haven't been dying for 3 years, wanting you so badly I can't breathe, and he just—" He stopped, his chest heaving. The world tilted. "What did you say?" "You want to know why I hit him?" Taemin laughed, but it was harsh, broken. "Because I've watched you for 3 years, watched you try to make this work, watched you learn Korean and cook dinner and decorate this empty penthouse, trying to make it a home, watched you cry when you thought I couldn't hear, watched you disappear piece by piece until tonight, when you walked out in that dress looking like yourself again, looking free, and I realized I was losing you, that I'd already lost you by trying so hard not to have you." Tears streamed down Violet's face. "You pushed me away. For 3 years, you made me feel like nothing. Because you're everything." The words exploded out of him. "Because every time I look at you, I want to touch you, hold you, wake up next to you, hear you laugh, watch you work, grow old with you, and I can't. I can't because everyone I love gets destroyed. Everyone I care about becomes a weapon my enemies use against me." "Taemin, you want to know why I stay away?" He moved closer. Violet backed up until she hit the wall. He caged her in with his arms, his face inches from hers. "When I was 24, I was in love. Her name was Jiwon. Beautiful, kind, perfect. I thought I could protect her. Thought my name, my power would be enough." His voice cracked. "Park Seo-jun's family kidnapped her, tortured her for 5 days trying to get information about my operations. They sent me videos of her screaming, begging. By the time I found her, she was barely alive. She died in my arms asking me why I didn't save her." "Oh my God." Violet's hands came up to his face. "Taemin, I'm so sorry. I swore I'd never let that happen again, never care enough to create that vulnerability. Then my family forced this marriage, and I thought it would be easy. A contract, no feelings. I'd give you everything except my heart, because if I didn't love you, you'd be safe." His forehead pressed to hers. "But then you walked into that jazz club 3 years ago, so beautiful I couldn't breathe, so strong, willing to sacrifice everything for your father, and I knew I was in trouble. I knew I was going to fall for you, and it terrified me." "So you kept me at a distance," Violet whispered. "I tried." His hands came up to frame her face. "God, I tried. But Violet, every day made it worse. The way you hum when you cook, the way you curl up on the couch with a book, the way you speak Korean with that American accent that makes my chest tight. I know everything about you. I've been paying attention every single second. Then why didn't you tell me?" "Because nothing had changed. You were still in danger just being my wife. And if I let myself love you openly, if I let myself need you, I'd be weak. I'd make mistakes. I'd be the thing they could use to destroy me." He pulled back slightly, his eyes searching hers. "But then I saw those divorce papers, and I realized I've already lost you by trying so hard not to. You want to leave. You'd rather be free than spend one more day as my wife." "Because you made me feel invisible," Violet said through her tears. "Because I thought you didn't want me, that something was wrong with me." "Nothing is wrong with you." His thumbs wiped her tears. "You're perfect. You're everything. And I'm an idiot who wasted 3 years because I was terrified. You should have told me. I know." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry, Violet, for making you lonely, for making you doubt yourself, for all of it. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve another chance. But if there's even the smallest possibility that you feel anything for me, that you want what I want, then stay. Please stay. Give me a chance to be the husband you deserve." Violet's heart was breaking and healing simultaneously. "Tell me you love me. Say it clearly." "I love you." The words came out rough, honest, desperate. "I've loved you since the day I met you, since you sat across from me in that club looking terrified but brave. I've loved you through every day of our marriage, every moment you tried to reach me, every smile I wasn't strong enough to return. I love you so much, it's killing me. And I know I don't deserve you, but I'm begging. Stay. Please stay with me. She should make him suffer. Should make him work for it. 3 years of loneliness should cost more than one confession. But God, she'd wanted this for so long. I love you too, she whispered. I've loved you for so long, it hurts. Something broke in his expression, relief and disbelief and desperate hope. Say it again. I love you, Kim Tae-min. My husband, I love you. He kissed her like a man drowning, desperate, hungry, 3 years of denial in one kiss. His hands tangled in her hair, pulling her closer, and Violet melted into him. This was what she'd been starving for. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against hers. I don't deserve you. No, she agreed, making him laugh, but you're stuck with me anyway. Good. He kissed her again, softer this time, because I'm never letting you go. Never. You're mine, Violet. Finally, really mine. Show me, she whispered against his lips. 3 years of distance. Show me what you've been holding back. His eyes darkened. If I start, I won't stop. Good. She pulled him closer. I don't want you to stop. I want everything you've been denying us. Taemin lifted her like she weighed nothing. Violet wrapped her legs around his waist as he carried her to his bedroom, a room she'd never seen. Large bed, minimalist furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering lights. I've imagined this, he confessed, laying her down on the bed. Every night, you in my bed, in my arms, mine. Then stop imagining. Violet pulled him down to her. I'm real, I'm here, I'm yours. Mine, he repeated, and the possessiveness in his voice sent shivers through her entire body. He kissed her neck, her collarbone, whispering in Korean between kisses, words she understood now, beautiful, perfect, mine. His hands explored her body with a reverence that made her feel cherished, wanted, loved. Taemin, she gasped as his lips found sensitive skin. Say it again. His eyes met hers, dark and intense. Say my name again. Taemin. She pulled him closer. My husband. Something in him shattered completely at those words. The Ice King. The Dragon of Gangnam. The man who'd kept her at arm's length for 3 years. He became someone desperate and needy and completely hers. They made love like people who'd been starving, urgent and tender, passionate and gentle. 3 years of longing poured into every touch, every kiss, every whispered confession. I love you, he said against her skin in Korean first, then English. I'll love you until the day I die. I'll spend the rest of my life making up for the time I wasted. Violet's tears fell freely. I love you too. So much. Afterward, they lay tangled together, her head on his chest, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. The city lights filtered through the windows, painting them in soft shadows. What happens now? She asked quietly. Now I stop hiding. He kissed the top of her head. Now I claim you properly as my wife. Let everyone know you're mine and I'm yours. Let my enemies try to touch you. They'll learn what happens when someone threatens what belongs to me. That's going to make things dangerous. Things have always been dangerous, Violet. The difference is, now I'm not facing it alone. He tilted her chin up to look at him. Now I have something worth fighting for, someone worth protecting, someone worth living for. Don't talk about dying. She pressed her palm to his chest. Not when I just got you. Then I'll talk about living. He smiled, a real smile, maybe the first she'd ever seen from him. Living with you, building a real marriage. Maybe eventually. His hand drifted to her stomach. A family. Violet's breath caught. You want children? I want everything with you. His eyes were serious now. Everything I denied us for 3 years. If you'll have me, if you'll forgive me for wasting so much time. There's nothing to forgive. She kissed him softly. We have the rest of our lives to make up for it. They fell asleep wrapped around each other, and for the first time in 3 years, Violet didn't feel alone. Morning came too soon. Violet woke to find Tae-min already dressed, sitting on the edge of the bed with his phone, his expression dark. What's wrong? She sat up, pulling the sheet around her. He turned to her, and she saw fury in his eyes. Park Seo-joon knows. About us. About last night. How could he possibly? He has people watching me. Watching us. Tae-min handed her his phone. The message was in Korean, but there was a photo attached. Them last night, kissing in the restaurant parking lot before they'd gotten in the car. Violet's blood ran cold. He was watching us. He's been waiting for this. For me to show weakness. For proof that you matter to me. Taemin's voice was deadly calm. He sent another message. Wants to meet. Says he has a proposition. It's a trap. Of course it's a trap. Taemin's smile was sharp. Dangerous. But I'm going anyway, because Park Seo-joon needs to learn what happens when someone threatens my wife. Fear gripped Violet's chest. Don't go. Please. We can figure something else out. Violet. He cupped her face. This is who I am. This is what I do. And now you're part of this world completely. But I need you to trust me. Can you do that? She wanted to say no, but she saw the determination in his eyes, the fierce protectiveness. I trust you, she whispered, but I'm terrified. Good. Fear keeps you alert. He kissed her forehead. I'm leaving guards outside. Don't leave the penthouse. Don't open the door for anyone except me. He pulled a small handgun from his nightstand, placed it on the bed. If anyone gets past my men, you use this. Aim for center mass. Don't hesitate. Taemin, promise me. I promise. He kissed her hard, desperately. I'll be back in 3 hours. I love you. I love you too. She watched him leave, every instinct screaming at her to stop him. 2 hours passed like centuries. Violet got dressed, couldn't eat, paced the living room. The guards outside were silent, professional. Her phone was in her hand, checking obsessively for messages. Nothing. 2.5 hours, her nerves were fraying. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. English text. Your husband is very brave, but bravery doesn't stop bullets. Come to the address below if you want to see him alive. Come alone. You have 30 minutes. An address in Gangnam followed, an industrial area she vaguely recognized. Violet's heart stopped. This was exactly what Tae-min had warned her about. But what if it wasn't a bluff? Her hands shook as she grabbed the gun, shoved it in her purse, pulled on a jacket. The guards tried to stop her. Mrs. Kim, you can't. Emergency, she said in Korean. Family emergency. I need to go. She pushed past them, running for the elevator before they could stop her. While Violet's racing to save Tae-min, was she right to go, or should she have trusted his plan? What do you think would have been her best course of action? Let me know in the comments below. The warehouse was exactly as ominous as she'd imagined. Dark, abandoned-looking, graffiti on the walls. Violet's taxi driver had given her a strange look when she'd asked to be dropped here, but he'd left without questions. Now she stood outside, the gun heavy in her purse, her heart hammering. She pushed open the side door, stepping into darkness that smelled of rust and old concrete. Hello? Her voice echoed. I'm here. I came alone, like you said. Lights blazed on suddenly, blinding her. When her vision cleared, she saw him. Tae-min stood in the center of the warehouse. Perfectly fine, not a hair out of place. And he looked furious. Violet, what the hell are you doing here? Relief and confusion crashed through her. The message, they said they had you, that they'd kill you if I didn't come. It was a test. Park Seo-joon's voice came from behind her. Violet spun. He looked smug, surrounded by 5 armed men. A test of whether you'd be stupid enough to throw yourself into danger for him. Congratulations, you passed, or failed, depending on perspective. Let her go, Tae-min said, his voice deadly calm. This is between us. But she's the whole point." Seo Jun laughed. "The great Kim Tae-min, brought low by an American woman. It's almost poetic. I could kill her right now. Show your family that you're compromised. Take your position." "You could try." Taemin's hands were relaxed at his sides. "But you'd be dead before her body hit the ground." "Maybe. Or maybe you'd hesitate." Violet's hand slid into her purse, finding the gun. 6 against 2. Terrible odds. Then Taemin did something unexpected. He laughed. "Seo Jun, you've always been an idiot." He pulled out his phone, pressed a button. The warehouse doors burst open. Dozens of men in black suits poured in, surrounding Seo Jun's group in seconds. "This was your trap all along," Violet whispered. "Our trap." Taemin's eyes stayed on Seo Jun. "Violet, show him what's in your purse." She pulled out the gun, her hand steadier now. "You wanted me to come here," she said slowly. "I needed Seo Jun to think he'd won, to think he'd found my weakness." Taemin moved to stand beside her, his hand finding hers. "But my wife isn't my weakness. She's my partner. And Park Seo Jun just committed an act of aggression against the Kim family in front of witnesses. On camera." He gestured to the corners where small red lights blinked. Seo Jun's face went white. "You can't—" "Already done." Taemin's smile was cold. "The Seoul families have seen everything. You wanted my position? You just lost everything." His men moved in, disarming Seo Jun's group efficiently. "Take them to the council," Taemin ordered. Then he turned to Violet, his expression softening. "You were supposed to trust that I had a plan." "I got a message saying you were dying. What was I supposed to do?" "Fair point." He pulled her close. "Though seeing you walk through that door took 10 years off my life. You used me as bait." "I used us as bait." He kissed her forehead. "Seo Jun needed to see that I'd protect you at any cost. It's what made him confident enough to make his move. I'm sorry. I know it was dangerous, but I needed to end this threat permanently. For us. For our future." Violet thought about it. The fear. The terror. Then she thought about the look on Seo Jun's face when he realized he'd lost. "Next time," she said slowly, "maybe give me a heads up before you fake your own kidnapping." He laughed. "Deal, though I'm hoping there won't be a next time." "In your line of work?" "Doubtful." "Then I'll teach you. How to shoot properly, how to spot a trap, how to survive in my world." His eyes were serious. "Because you're in this completely now, and I won't have you defenseless." "Partners," Violet said. "Partners," he agreed, "in everything." The family dinner was different this time. Violet sat beside Taemin at the long table, his hand resting openly on her thigh. No more careful distance, no more pretending she didn't exist. When he introduced her now, it was with pride. "My wife, Violet." His mother still didn't smile much, but there was grudging respect in her eyes. The other wives no longer whispered. They knew better now. Kim Taemin's wife wasn't to be underestimated or disrespected. After dinner, they returned to the penthouse. Their penthouse now. Violet had spent the last week redecorating, adding warmth and color. Photos of them together lined the shelves, her books mixed with his, their lives intertwined in every corner. In their bedroom, the bedroom they now shared, Taemin pulled her close. "I've been thinking," he said, his hands sliding around her waist. "Dangerous." She smiled against his neck. "About what you said. About wanting to live." He pulled back to look at her. "I've spent so much of my life just surviving, just protecting what's mine. But with you, Violet, I want more. I want to actually live." "What does that look like for a Mafia boss?" "I don't know yet." His hand drifted to her stomach. "Maybe we start with that family we talked about." Violet's breath caught. They'd been trying for the last 3 weeks. Not seriously, just not preventing, but hearing him say it out loud made it real. "You really want that? A baby with me?" "I want everything with you." He kissed her forehead, her nose, her lips. Every single thing. For the rest of our lives. 3 months later, Violet stared at the pregnancy test on the bathroom counter. 2 pink lines, clear and unmistakable. Her hands shook. Happy tears, terrified tears, overwhelmed tears. "Violet?" Taemin's voice came from the bedroom. "You okay?" She opened the door, holding the test. He took one look at her face, at the test, and his expression transformed. Pure joy. "We're pregnant." His voice cracked. He picked her up, spinning her around, laughing and crying at the same time. "I love you," he said, his hands cradling her face. "God, Violet, I love you so much." "I love you too." She pressed her hand to his chest. "We're going to be parents. We're going to be amazing parents." He kissed her. "Because we're a team, partners in everything." Later that night, lying in bed with Taemin's hand resting protectively on her still flat stomach, Violet thought about how close she'd come to leaving, how those divorce papers had almost ended everything before it really began. She thought about the scared, lonely woman she'd been just months ago and the strong, loved woman she'd become. "What are you thinking?" Taemin asked softly. "That I'm glad I stayed. That night, when you finally told me the truth, I'm glad I gave us a chance." "Me too." He kissed her temple. "Best decision I ever made. Walking through that door. Finally being brave enough to tell you the truth." "Second best," Violet corrected. "Best decision was marrying me in the first place." He laughed. "You're right. Marrying you was the best decision. Everything else was just me finally getting smart enough to appreciate what I had." Outside, Seoul sparkled with city lights. Inside, in their home, in their bed, Kim Tae-min and Violet Kim held each other close and dreamed of their future. A future they'd fight for, protect, build together. Because some loves are worth the wait. Some loves are worth 3 years of loneliness if it means forever together on the other side. And that's the story of how a contract marriage became a real love story. How 3 years of silence turned into a lifetime of partnership. How Violet and Tae-min found their way to each other through the darkness and fear into light and love. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button right now. We've got so many more Aurora love stories that will make you believe in destiny, in second chances, and in the kind of love that conquers everything. Check out our playlist for more stories about forbidden love, unexpected romance, and couples who overcome impossible odds. Drop a comment telling me what you thought. Did you see that warehouse twist coming? Would you have forgiven Tae-min for those 3 years? And most importantly, what should they name their baby? I'm reading every single comment, and your engagement helps us bring you more stories like this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for believing in love. And remember, sometimes the best love stories are the ones that take time to bloom. Stay tuned for our next story because, trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until next time, keep believing in love.